Welcome back to our walkthrough activity 7. I'm going to take you straight to it. So we are asked to open the activity instrument activity 7_8 and we have to do the following. So activity 7 is all about creating reports. So it asks us to create a report that displays all the fields of all the records in the table instrument data and save the report as instrument owners. It gives further instructions: make the following changes to the report, display the report in landscape orientation, and then space the columns fields so that they are displayed neatly across the width of the page. And then lastly, make all the headings black and bold so that they stand out better. So the first thing that we need to do is we have to create a report. So we click on create. I'm going to zoom in, create, and then there are two options. We can either choose report design or we can choose report wizard. I personally prefer report wizard, and you will see it is very simple to create a report. So I'm selecting report wizard, and somewhere on here should be a dialog box. There we go. And it asks us that we have to base this report on the table instrument data and select all fields. So I can either select the fields individually, or I can select all fields at once. So I'm going to do that so that they're in correct order. If you want a different order of these fields, you have to select them individually. Then I'm going to click next. Grouping we will cover in one of the next activities that we're going to do. Clicking on next, we can change the layout or the sorting of our data, but we're not asked to do so. So I'm going to click next, and here is now the page for the layout, and we are asked to display the report in landscape orientation. So I can change the orientation over here, and then the second bullet point asks us to space the columns so that they are displayed neatly across the width of the page, and that is this little checkbox over here. So it's already checked, so we just leave it on, and all the fields so all fields fit on a page. The layout we are not asked to change, so I'm going to leave it. I'm going to say next, and then it asks us to save it as instruments and owners. And we want to still make the change to the headings, so I'm going to say modify the reports design, and I'm going to click on finish. Okay, here we have the report in design view. I'm going to zoom out again so that we see all fields. I'm going to create a little bit of space on the side, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I want to select all the headings. So the headings, I'm going to even make the form slightly bigger so that we have a bit more space. Okay, so and now I can try to select all of them at once. So you could select them and hold control and select all of them like that, or, and that's why I created space on the side, you can click on the side and drag your mouse all across, and then it will select all of them at once. And it asks that we should make all headings black. So now I can simply click on I think it's format, yes, format. I can select the black, and I can select bold, and that will make all our headings bold and black. And if I would click on home, view, report view, you can see that all fields are now displayed on the width of the field. It's landscape, and I've changed the boldness of the headings. Okay, that's the first one. So in the textbook they're giving you a picture. They still changed, I think, the heading of the title of the document as well. So we can do that by simply, selecting it, and also clicking on format, making it bold, and changing the color to black. I think it looks like in the picture that they have the background color, the shape fill. We can set that to white, for example, then it looks like this. So now, not file, home, click on view, report view, and now it will look like this. Okay, the second activity that they're asking us is to open the list of instrument. So I'm going to close this. Yes, I'm going to save it. Okay, list of instruments. I'm going to open this. And they're asking us to remove the field date board. So right over here, this field. So again, I'm clicking on view, design view. And then I can simply select the field. Now I must remember, if I delete the label, I must also delete the textbooks and vice versa. So I can select both of them by holding in control, and I can simply click delete. Then I have to add the field serial number at the left of the report. So the left of the report is on this side. So I have to create space there. So I'm simply going to move all these to the side to create space. And I want to obviously move my things accordingly. So let's see how that, I'm going to, yeah. I don't know why that field moved. Let's just move this one over. Okay. Just make sure that they look, are aligned with each other. And now I have to add, and I'm going to zoom in so that you can see, I have to add a field there. The first thing that I'm going to add, and I'm going to my design tab, and here's the controls group. We have a text box and we've got a label. The heading goes into a label. So I'm going to add a label here, and I'm going to simply type in the serial number. If I want to format it in the same way as, this, so I can highlight this, I can select the format painter, and I can now actually highlight this, format painter, and now I have to, I can't. Anyways, so the idea is I'm zoomed in, so that's very difficult to do. So I can simply, if I want to have the same, I can go to format and select, okay, see, it's Calibri 11, bold and black. So I will highlight this, we'll make sure it's bold and black as well. Okay, so then it is formatted in the same way. But now I need to add a text box. So in Access, that which you want to display, that comes from values that come from the table, have to be in a text box. The labels, whatever you type into the label, will be displayed. Okay, so again, I'm going to click design. I'm going to select the text box, and I'm going to draw that one in here. You will see that automatically a label also appears. I'm going to close this so that we have a little bit more space. This text box needs to be deleted, and this is now going to be very difficult to actually I don't know if I can, let me move this a little bit over so that I have space. I'm going to move this one as well so that I can delete it. So the way that I delete it, I have to select it, and I can simply press delete, and the text box actually stays, and I can move this now back to where I want it. Okay, it says unbound, but we want the actual serial number to display. So what I will do is I right click on here and I will say choose my properties, and I'm going to zoom out. Oh, the properties were actually open already. I just couldn't see them, so I'm going to select the property, and then with data I have a control source. So over here I can simply select the serial number, and you can see serial number is now displayed in my text box. So that's that, and then we clicking on save, and we can click on view. It doesn't look very pretty because I changed the size. So if I click back on design view, I can make this one a little bit smaller, and click on view again, and now I can see, you can still see my serial number has a little border around it. I could remove this, but I will not. It's unimportant for the activity. All right, then let's close this one and do number C. Close. We can save it, that's no problem. And we have to open the insurance one. So that one is based on the not insured bigger than 3,000 query. So if I click on design view and I click on record source, it says not insured bigger than 3,000. However, it says now change the source so that the report is based rather on the query instrument insured. So that will be the second one. If I zoom in, you can maybe see better. So I'm going to select this second one, and it contains the same fields. So now the data will be pulled through from the insured, instrument insured query. All right, I'm going to close this. Yes, and that actually concludes the first one. The second one, we have to open the plants details, or details of plants database. So I'm going to close this one, and I have it open already. So it asks us to create a report called details of plants. So I will again click on create, zoom in so that you can see report wizard. And over here we have to follow the instructions. It says that shows all the fields of all the records in the table plants. So make sure that the table is selected. I'm going to select all plants, and then we have to do some calculations. So I'm simply going to click on finish, and I'm going to go to close the print preview, and now I'm in design view. I can change the title over here to details of plants, and I can actually, if I click on save here, it says at the moment plants, but I can right click and rename that to also details of plants. Then we have to now create in the report footer. So you can see the report footer is not visible, so I'm simply going to open that. And now I have to add 3 text boxes into my report footer and add some calculations. So over here I have my first one. I'm going to put it about here, and you can see it automatically adds a label. I'm going to add a second one as well, and then I'm going to add a third one for my third calculation. Okay, the labels, very easy. We can simply change to average purchase price. It overlaps now, so we can select the one and simply drag it to the side. This label of the second one will be highest selling price. I'm going to move them just now, and this one will be number of plants listed. All right, and I'm going to move this one over, and I'm going to move this one over as well. Okay, I'm not so worried about it being looking nice now. More important is what are we going to type in here now. So the average, we are going, because it's a function that we're going to use an equal sign, and then the function in excess for average is not like Excel's function. It is actually called AVG. And we can open brackets because it's a function and it's got a closed bracket. Now in Excel, we would put a cell reference in there. In Access, we will actually put the field name in there. And the field name in Access always goes into square brackets. So I'm going to put square brackets, and inside the square brackets, I will now put purchase price. Purchase price. Very important that it's not two words. I have to spell it exactly as it is. It is case insensitive, which means it doesn't matter whether it's capital letters or lowercase letters, but the spelling matters. Okay, then the highest selling price, I will say here max. It's just like we had in Excel. Again, round brackets for the function, square brackets for this cell or the field, and this is selling price. So selling price, or one word, square bracket close, round bracket close. Number of plants listed. And now here we can do two things. I can either count, or, and that is by simply adding an asterisk. You should remember that from last year. Or I can count the specific field. So in this case, I can count the general name, for example. So I can select all, or in here, general name or scientific name, just like that. Okay, so if I press save and click on view, I have made a, look at this, instead of price, I spelled it Pierce. Okay, so that it tells me that does not exist. So I'm going to open the design view again and just fix my spelling mistake. I did this on purpose so that you can actually see how important it is to spell them correctly. Okay, so now I can click on view, and we have our report, and here right in the bottom, if I scroll down all to this end, I have my average purchase price 75, highest selling price 225, and number of plants listed is 39. Now that doesn't look very nice, so there's a couple of things that we can do to change that. So I'm clicking again on design view, and then I can select obviously all my fields, and I can go to format, and I can align it, for example, to the right. So everything will be aligned to the right. And then I can also, and let me zoom out for this, here at the format, I can select the format, and I can actually select currency. Now the number of plants listed is actually not a currency, so over here I will have to change the currency to a general number, for example. We can save this, click on home, view, and if I scroll down, you can see it is formatted as currency and number of plants listed 39. All right, so that is activity 7.2, and we have to, we still had to actually change it, details of plants. We did that. We were supposed to save it as details of plants. So let me just quickly show you how to do that. If you forgot to do it when you created the report, you can simply right click on here and click on rename, and then you can say details of plants. All right. And that concludes number 2. And now the third one that we have to do is we have to open the Visual Arts database. And the learners of Astra High School have undertaken to donate 25% of the total amount of their artwork to charity. Create a report called Astra Donation that shows only the records of learners from Astra High School. Display only the fields number, name, surname, grade, category, and price. And then there's another calculation that we have to do. For us to be able to only display learners from the Astra High School, we have to create a query first. So what we need to do is we have to click on create, and then we are going to, I prefer the query design, and then we use, it says from the school, create a query, Astra Donation shows all learners from the Astra High School. So that's where we're going to have entries, and then we have to display the number. I'm just going to close that. The number, yes, the name, the surname, the grade, the category, and price. Okay, of all high schools. So we still have the school name that we school, but the school one we are not going to display. So over here in the criteria row, I will say equals Astra High School. Okay, and then if I save this, I can save this as Astra School or Astra High School. I should actually say like Astra High School learners, and press OK. Now if I run this, there's nothing seen because let's quickly see Astra, the school name. Oh, it's just called Astra. So it's very important that we make sure that the it's actually sorry, I'm going to close this. Very difficult for me to talk and to type at the same time. We men have that problem. Okay, so instead of Astra High School, we'll just say Astra, and that's it. If we run this now, we will actually have learners in our high school. So very important that we familiarize ourselves with the table data and how their things are spelled, because spelling is very important. Right, the second part of this is now to create a report. So I'm going to close this. It's always easier. Sometimes it works to have the things open, sometimes not. So rule of thumb, close all your queries and reports before you work on a different one. So I'm clicking on create. I'm going to click on report wizard, and this time we want to base our report on our query Astra High School learners. And I have already selected the fields in the query, so I want to show all of them. I'm going to click next, and I'm just going to this time actually go all the way to the end so that I can show you where to name your reports. So here you could name them, and they have to say, the name of it was supposed to say Astra Donations. And I will say I want to modify it. I'm going to click on finish, and here is my report. So the extra thing or the calculation that we need to do is we have to perform the following calculation, display it in the report header. So instead of the report footer, we're going to display it in our report header this time. At the top of the report, 25% of the total amount price of the artworks. Format the font of the label and the result in a red color. So the total amount. So how do I do this? Select a text box. I'm going to put that there. My label, I'm simply going to say 25% value or something like that. Okay, unbound. Here is now where my function goes in. So I will have the sum of the price field times 0.25. That's 25%. All right. Or I could simply say divided by 4. And if I save this now and I click on view, here we have a value of 2,426 and 25 cents. And I can now still format this in a currency field, currency, as well as they're asking me to change the font of the label and the result in a red font color. So I click on format, and here I can now select a red, and I'm colorblind, so I have no idea what red is. Let's assume that's red, and I think it's set red as well. All right, and that is it for activity 7. We'll do another video on activity 8.